We're living in an age of possibilities. Xi Jinping asked me in the Tibetan Plateau, could I define America? And I could have said the same thing if he asked about Canada. I said, yes, one word, and I mean it, one word, possibilities. Nothing is beyond our capacity. We can do anything. We have to never forget. We must never doubt our capacity. Canada and the United States can do big things. We stand together, do them together, rise together. We're going to write the future together, I promise you. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
So that happened. How do you rate this visit? For Canada, of course, but also for the United States. Perfectly positioned to talk about that, Canada's ambassador to the U.S., Kirsten Hillman. She joined us not long ago from the gala dinner, and we talked about that scene in the House of Commons when Michael Spavor and Michael Kovrig got their standing ovation. Hillman was part of the effort to release them both.
It was a very long and challenging process of trying to work with the Americans and work with the Chinese government to get them out. And I thought about them every day for at least a couple of years as we were working on that and trying to strategize that both with our government but also with the Americans. And so I was really thrilled that they were able to be there today in the chamber, to feel the love from Canadians. I'm sure it's overwhelming for them, as it's overwhelming, I think, for a lot of us who work so hard on that. And it was an honor to be in their presence, quite frankly.
And Ambassador, China is on the minds of a lot of people in that chamber, a lot of people in this country. In terms of the Americans you're talking with, how much of a concern is the prospect of political interference by China here?
It is not something that has ever been raised with me in Washington, in the weeks leading up to this trip. And I think that we just doubled down on our resolve to make sure that we are ensuring that the institutions that are vital to our democracies, including, of course, our election systems, are as strong as they can be, and that we're learning from each other as we face these challenges. But they're not new challenges. These challenges are challenges that have been faced by the Americans, as I heard today, for a very long time. So it's good to be able to compare notes with them and talk to them.
And Ambassador, I'm wondering if you can decode something for me. The President said that he wasn't disappointed by the decision of Canada not to lead a mission in Haiti. Does that mean there won't be any more requests of Canada to lead any security mission? Is that now off the table?
If I were to decode what the President said, is that I think we had a very frank and honest conversation that right now, what is needed is to disrupt the illegal gang activity, to disrupt the flow of money, to disrupt the flow of arms, to disrupt their actions, to get, a safe and secure situation where food and fuel and medicine is getting to the people who need it, and to train the police force, the Haitian police force, and to buttress the Haitian police force so that they can implement a solution on the ground through their own means. I think that if I were to, and of course it's not me who should be speaking for the President, but that's what I would take from that comment.
So some thoughts from the very busy Canadian ambassador to the U.S., Kirsten Hillman, who was central to this visit. To her last point about Haiti, Canada announced today that it's contributing $100 million to bolster that Haitian National Police Force. There will continue to be questions about how it can be ensured that money gets into the right hands. Just one of many questions to come out of today. So let's get some more insight from Chief Political Correspondent Rosie Barton and our Washington correspondent Alex Panetta. We asked you both not long ago what you found most striking in terms of the meat of this moment, the steak, not the sizzle. You chose exactly the same moment, the same announcement. So let's have a watch and then figure out why.
Our nations are blessed with incredible natural resources. Canada in particular has large quantities of critical minerals that are essential for our clean energy future, for the world's clean energy future. And I believe we have an incredible opportunity to work together so Canada and the United States can source and supply here in North America everything we need for reliable and resilient supply chains.
So Alex, let me start with you. Why this part of the speech?
Well, if you took a team of speechwriters in the Prime Minister's office and asked them to write a perfect speech for an American president to give on Canadian soil, I'm not sure they'd have come up with a better one than that one. However, to me, the most interesting news we learned today came after the speech in a statement the leaders issued, and it had to do with critical minerals. We've known for some time that the Pentagon was looking at funding mining projects in Canada to turbocharge the sector, part of this competition with China, and that they were considering Canadian projects. What we learned today is that this spring, money will be flowing from Washington to these mining projects in Canada and the United States. We don't have the details yet.
Okay. Rosie, when you heard that, was this as much a message to China as it was to Canada?
Yeah, I mean, first, to be fair, I didn't know all of that until Alex told me. So now I interpret that part of the speech a little bit differently. It was certainly a message to China that this continent is preparing to create its own domestic supply chain, that there were lessons learned, certainly from the pandemic, but there are also messages being sent to countries that do not share the same values as Canada and the United States. So that is a message there. I also think that this is what the Liberal government, as Alex was talking about, is trying to create in this country, which is an economy that is based on clean energy, green energy. You've seen a lot of moves lately by ministers doing that, and you'll see more of that in the budget that comes on Tuesday.
All right, so Alex, from the people you talk with in the U.S. as Biden heads home, what's the next step for him? What should we really be looking for?
Well, the next big political story is, does Donald Trump get arrested? I mean, really, that's what everyone's watching in Washington. But I bring him up for a reason. Before this trip, I looked through every single speech a U.S. president had given in Canada since the 1960s. And it seems to me that there's a before Donald Trump and an after Donald Trump. That he kind of changed the framework we're living in on a variety of issues. On China. China was not regularly discussed as an adversary until now. On trade, when Ronald Reagan spoke here, when Bill Clinton spoke here, trade was an unalloyed good. Just expanding it was good, no questions asked. And now you're seeing maybe it hurts the middle class. On migration is something to control, not to encourage, right? And so those are three of the things that I think he may have changed. And there's the political universe he created is the one we're still living in.
All right, Rosie, anything left on the table? Anything not discussed that needs to get worked on from this perspective?
You know, first of all, I want to see how this safe third country agreement change actually works in practice, and whether it does result in people trying to cross in a way that is unsafe. So what does that look like, and what do we see over the course of the next couple of days, because that goes into effect already. And then I think, how does the government use this to spin off into the budget on Tuesday, but also to try and get away from some of the controversies that have been haunting it for the past number of weeks? Can they sort of sustain the momentum that they've got out of this visit?
Excellent. Rosie Barton, Alex Panetta, great to be with you. Thank you.